Hi everyone, welcome to Teacher Gela podcast. I am Teacher Gela, and it's so nice to see you here again for another week. Today I am introducing a book, a children book. Do you remember? I think it was about 2 weeks ago. I introduced a book, not a book. I introduced a song. She sell seashells. Remember? So when I was introducing this book, I also talked about, I also gave you three different kinds of breathing exercise that you can do with your child. Remember? So I showed you how to do the whale breathing exercise, starfish exercise, and the seagull exercise. I made templates for them, right? Yeah, so with that book, I talked about the breathing exercises. And then, I don't know, recently I was interested in whale and I thought, whale is a fun theme to talk about with children. And I wanted to do something more about mindfulness. So I was looking for another books. I was thinking, well, whale breathing is really good idea. Is there any way that I can make it a little bit more fun for children? So I was hoping to find some story related to whale, and I found this book. So this book it's called Amos and Boris. Amos and Boris. Have you ever heard of this book? This one is again, it's a classic book. Yeah, I was surprised that I didn't know about this book before. It's a very old classic book. It is written by William Steig. So, I will give you a quick story about this book first because I can't really read the book here because of the copyright. So, if I give you just the story about this book, Amos and Boris. So Amos is a little mouse and Boris is a whale. So first Amos comes in comes at the beginning of the story, and Amos was living beside the sea, and he really loves to see the sea. He loves to see, he loves to hear the sound. And then one day Amos decided to sail the ocean. So he made a boat, and then he went out to the ocean. He really enjoyed sailing. But after some time, he saw some whales, a bunch of whales swimming in the ocean. And the whales are so much bigger than the little mouse, right? He was so surprised and he really enjoyed to see them. At some point, he loses his balance, I guess, and then he falls off the boat and then he doesn't see the boat anymore. So this mouse, Amos, got in a danger. But then Amos met a whale in the middle of the sea. This whale is Boris. When Boris saw Amos, he helped him. Boris let Amos stay on top of his back. And then Amos asked if Boris can help him to get back to his shore. And Boris said, yeah, I'm glad to help you. So they swim together, like back to where Amos was living. While they are swimming back to the shore, they talk to each other a lot and they become good friends. When they got back into Amos' house, they say goodbye to each other. They knew that they're gonna miss each other, but whale needs to live in the ocean and Amos, the mouse, needs to live on the land, right? So they had to say goodbye. But when they are saying goodbye, Amos said, "Hey, good friend, you helped me. You saved my life. Whenever you need help, I'm here. Like, you can ask help. I'm happy to help you whenever I can help," kind of thing. And they say goodbye. And Boris thought it was very nice of Amos, but he thought, he's really, really small mouse. How can he help me? But he knew that Amos was a good friend, and he just went back to his home like that. After some time, I think it was actually many years after. So Amos was not little anymore. Before, when they first met, they were both very young. But after many years, Amos was not a young mouse anymore, and Boris as well. He was not young whale anymore. One day, there was a big storm. From that storm, Boris was pushed to the shore. Because the storm was so big, he was pushed to the shore. And that shore was the one that Amos was living. So the whale, Boris, got on the shore, and that is not good for a whale. He needs to be in the water, right? So he was like dying. And when he thought, oh my God, I'm really gonna die. At that moment, Boris saw Amos at the shore. And then Boris says, like, "Hey, friend, I need help. I need help. Can you help me to go back to the ocean?" Well, in his mind, he knew that, you know, he, Boris, is really big and Amos is really small. How can he push him back to ocean, right? But he was at the, almost dying moment. So he just asked for help. Amos left to find a way that he can help Boris. After some time, Boris came, no, After some time, Amos came back with two big elephants. Yeah, because it was land, right? They were elephants. He came back with two big elephants, and those elephants pushed pushed Boris back to the ocean. So the Boris could be back in the ocean. He was safe, and then he could go back to his home. They say thank you to each other, and they realize that he's such a good friend. He's such a good friend. They saved each other's lives. But at the end, they had to say goodbye. So, with the good memory in their minds, they say goodbye. So, that is the story of this book. How is it? It's really nice book, right? I think it's even appropriate for toddlers. The thing is, this book is a little bit long. Like, when I was explaining to you, it was not short, right? It's a little bit long for toddlers. But the story, I'm sure toddlers can understand as well. So my suggestion for toddlers is just maybe read a few pages a day. So read like 3, 4 pages today, and then tomorrow you can read uh, the next 3, 4 pages. If your toddler can't sit for that long, you can divide it like that. So that is the story. What do you think we can teach with this book? There are some prominent lessons, right? I think the most prominent lesson is friendship. First, when Boris and Amos met in the ocean, in the sea, Amos was in danger, right? And Boris could just, he could just leave on his way. But Boris was nice, he was kind, and he agreed to Amos to swim all the way back to the shore that he was never been to. That friendship, well, of course, the friendship gave them good memories, right? Good memories. in their lives. And also, even though they couldn't be together after that event, they knew that they are good friends to each other. And that friendship made Boris got the help back from Amos, right? You never know. We never know about life, what's going to happen in the future, right? Boris first thought, like, Amos wouldn't be able to help me because he's such a small creature. But he needed help at one time, and Amos was able to help Boris. So we can talk about that friendship. You can be kind to even stranger, and then you might be able to be a good friends to each other. And good friends help each other. So that's the most prominent lesson in this book. That's such a nice friendship, right? And again, like you can talk about being kind. And when you decide to be kind, that can bring the kindness back to you. What else can we teach over here? I am a growth mindset teacher, and I think there are a few more factors that we can teach using this story to develop our children's growth mindset. First, I want to talk about adventurous Amos. So Amos, the mouse, he he loved the sea, right? But can he live in the sea? I guess the mouse can swim because Amos swam for quite some time after got after he fell off the boat. So I guess they can swim, but not for a long time, right? They're not supposed to be in the sea. But he just loved the sea so much. So he went out to the shore and then he looked at the sea every day. And one day he decides to go into the ocean by building his own boat. What an adventurous mouse. And what did this adventurous mind bring to Amos? He had a really good time. In the middle of the sea, he could see the bright sun and big blue sky and a bunch of whales swimming together. So it must be very scary at the beginning for Amos, because if you ever get into the ocean, well, it's unlikely that you're going to survive as a mouse. But he decided to sail the ocean. You must have courage to make that decision, right? So we can talk about being adventurous, being satisfied in where you are. It's important too. But if there is a bigger word, and yes, there is a bigger word, right? When there is a bigger word, you can dream to go out. You can dream to be adventurous, to go out of your comfort zone and try something new. Yes, you may need to be brave and courageous. But when you decide to be brave, you can have something very exciting experience. It can bring something that you never experienced before. So that's the first thing. Second thing that I want to talk about is positive minded Boris. So this one, you will understand better when you actually read the book. When, Amos was in danger in the sea, he asked Boris to help him. And when Boris heard Amos asking for help, Boris said, like, you can say, if someone asks us for help, you can just say, okay, I can help you. But Boris said, I am really honored to help you. Like, what kind of whale can have a chance to swim to the shore? And in addition to that, who can get to swim with the creator from land? That's how Boris responded to Amos. So here I saw very positive mindset. What do you think? In this situation, we can just think like, okay, I like to be kind, and this animal is in danger. So yeah, I can help. I wanna help. Okay, I will help you. We can say it like that. But Boris didn't just stop there. He thought it's a good opportunity. It's a far way, but not many whale is gonna have a chance to swim that far to the shore where most whales don't have experience to be there. And then very happily they swim together. So Boris has really good positive mindset there. So you can explain this to your child. Know that there is a bigger world. Know that there are many new things that you can try. Know that you have ability to try and succeed. And the third point that I want to teach to young children is they help each other with such a difference. So this one is kind of explained in the book as well, but they are so different. Mouse, Amos, so small. Boris is so big. Insides, they're so different. And also, they live in different environment. Amos live on the land, and Boris live in the sea. They're very, very different. So we may think like, they are so different. How are they gonna get along together? But with their own uniqueness, they help each other, right? Because Amos was so small, he could just stay on top of Boris' back. And because Boris was able to swim without difficulty in the ocean, he could help him to get back to his home. And when Boris was in danger, well, Amos couldn't help him directly, but he went out and found a way to help Boris, right? He brought his other friends, elephants, who can actually help Boris. So they are using their differences, their unique features in a good way to help other uh, animals, other friends. So that's what we want to talk about too. And the last point is a little bit deeper one. So this may not be so appropriate for toddlers, but preschoolers they can understand. So for preschooler, if you have a preschooler, talk about this point as well. Um, want to talk about accepting the reality. Accepting reality. In reality, they liked each other, Amos and Boris. After all that events and time, they thought they are good friends to each other and they loved each other. But in reality, they couldn't be together, right? Even though they wanted to, because mouse can't live in the ocean and the whale can't live on the land. So what did they do? This is really good thing to talk about, especially for preschooler, because sometimes preschoolers they at that age they have they have hard time when they can't do things in a way that they want, Sometimes it's because the reality is like that. I can't really think of the specific examples that I can use here, but like this kind of situation, I'm sure this lesson can help preschoolers to deal with small or big problems they can have at school. So, accepting reality. Realistically, we can't be together. But what did they do? Did they cry about it? Did they say, like, no, she's my good friend. I want to be with her. I want to be with you. I don't want to go back to home. Did they do that? They didn't do that, right? They just remember that he's such a good friend. He's really good person. I like her so much. I like him so much. And they say, like, you're gonna be my friend forever. I'm gonna remember you forever. And then they say goodbye. Good friend, I'm gonna remember you. Bye. Goodbye. It's kind of sad at the end. They also somewhat knew that. I think Boris says this. Boris says, I know I'm not gonna be able to see him again, but he's such a good friend. And he just keeps that good memory with Amos in his mind and leave. Not because he likes this, but realistically, there's no other way. So sometimes we want to teach this. Sometimes we have to let things go. Sometimes we have to compromise. Sometimes we have to accept the reality. We can't just do whatever we want to do all the time. Sometimes there are things that are not possible to happen, but you can still keep the good memories in you. You can focus on the things that you can do rather than just being sad and sad and sad about the things that you can't have. Okay, so those are the lessons that we can teach with this book. But the main thing that why I'm introducing this book is because I wanted to add some mindful time with this book. There are beautiful scenes that we can use for mindful moment. So I want to use this scene when Amos went into the ocean. At the beginning, he had a really good date, right? He was lying down on his boat and the sun was so bright. He could feel the breeze. It was just so big. The sea was so big. It gives such a calm, peaceful, and happy feeling. So while you are reading the book, when you get to this scene, you can stop the story and then suggest to have a little quiet time, quiet moment, mindful moment. So stop reading and then you can play a music because when you have a music, it can help you, focus on certain situation, right? So I found the music. This is called calming music. I can definitely write the. I'm definitely gonna write this information. The songs that I found, I will put it in the blog. So if you are watching this on YouTube or you're listening to this on podcast, make sure that you check the Everyday Fun Day blog at everydayfunday.ca. Then you will be able to see the music videos that I found. So yeah, I chose specifically these two songs because I thought uh they're gonna go well with these scenes. So the first scene where Amos is sailing, you can use this music, calming music by Calming Water Consort. So play this song. Suggest closing eyes. You can do this with your child. And then you can say like this. Let's try being Amos. Let's imagine we are Amos. Close your eyes. You're Amos. You are in the middle of the sea. You are laying down on the boat. And it's a beautiful day. You can see the bright sun. You can see some birds flying in the sky. And you can feel the wave. Encouraged to imagine the situation and feel the situation. I think I'm gonna make another short video with just these mindful moment play. So if you wanna see exactly how I'm gonna do it, you can play that video after this one. Okay? But it's basically you are encouraging your child to be closing eyes, focusing on the situation, focusing on being Amos, and then trying to feel how Amos is gonna feel. Okay, and the second situation that we can use for this kind of mindful moment is when Boris is spouting after dropping off Amos. Not dropping off Amos. It's the last scene. So when Boris was sent back to the ocean by the help of two big elephants, they say finally last goodbye. It's sad and happy and happy and sad. So after they say goodbye, the Boris swims away from the shore, and then he spouts 2 times. It says in the book, he spouts 2 times. At this moment, you can stop reading the book and again play a music. So I chose a different music for this one. It's called Swimmer by Gold Panda. Mm. So you can play this one. And then again, encourage your child to have a mindful moment, quiet moment. So you can say, all right, this time we're going to close our eyes and we are becoming Boris. We are the whale in the sea. We just said goodbye to good friend Amos. It's sad, but we gotta go. And I'm not just sad because I am having the good memory that I made with Amos. Goodbye, friend. And then you spout. So here, do the whale breathing exercise. He breathed 2 times. So breathe together. Okay, let's spout 2 times. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And then pretend like you're spouting like the whale. So look upward and exhale. Do this 2 times, just like Boris in the book. So those are the two scenes that I found that you can use for mindful moments. How is it? It may not seem like a weird mindfulness. It's definitely different from the mindfulness practice that adults do. What we are doing here is encouraging children to practice being calm, like calming their mind and focusing on one thing. That's what we are trying to do here. And why am I suggesting to do this? Because I think this is the first step of learning the mindfulness. If we just say, okay, we're going to have a mindful time, sit down, close your eyes, focus on your breath. This might be little hard for children. Well, it's sometimes not easy for us too, to adults, right? Focus on breathing, and then we just, start thinking about many other things, right? But when we use this book, when we use specific situation, it can help children to focus on that situation better because clearly they have some situation. We gave a specific situation. So let's be Amos who is sailing in the sea, or let's be Boris who is spouting 2 times as he leaves his good friend. So, with this specific situation, with the specific character, it can help them to be in the situation more easily. So, this is really good beginning exercise that you can do with your child if you want to develop your child's mindfulness skills. Does it make sense? So, this book by itself, it's a great book, and there are great lessons that we can teach just with the story. But I think it's also a great book to practice and talk about the mindfulness with children. So, if you grab this book, don't just stop at reading the book. I really hope you try having these mindful moments with your child because I'm sure it's going to help them to control their mind, control their mood, control their focusing skill. All right? So that's all I wanted to share today. Thank you for listening this week again, and I will see you with the great book or great play next time again. Bye.